The driver,
No, sorry. Just that paragraph up, ne?
which one?
Paragraph 23.
While busy at the scene, a certain Indian male who was later known to me as General Khan of Crime Intelligence arrived while with his crew, and all hell broke loose. As he started giving instruction, he asked who was the driver of the black Nissan buggy, and I told him I was the driver. He then ordered me to go sit in the buggy. I did as instructed, and General Khan, started calling us Zoti police and said, he's going to teach us a lesson. I was not even allowed to move and talk to my colleagues, not even to go to the toilet. I was escorted. Different police officers among the Colonel Mawaso came to interview me and explained to him how I got information and came to the scene. I was also interviewed by Brigadier Sekhobela, and later a certain gentleman who introduced himself as Captain Sibula placed me under arrest. Photos were taken of me while seated in the car. As a result of General Khan's unprofessional behavior and obstruction, the driver, Brighton Mtembu, who was already placed under arrest, was released. The lady called Jolene and Cornelius were no longer cooperative. Information on who the receiver was no longer pursued, as we were now considered as suspect.
All right. When you say General Khan told you to sit inside the car, how long did you have to sit inside the car? Rough estimate.
I was made to sit in the car I'm not too sure as to what time did the general arrive, but I was made to sit inside the car for almost 2 hours.
And how was it in the car? What was the situation?
The situation was uncomfortable. I was sitting there, the sun, it was hot and everything.
And you also mentioned in that paragraph that you had to be escorted. What does that mean?
At some stage, commissioners, I wanted to go to the toilet, or yes, to the loo. So one gentleman who arrived with General Khan escorted me to the loo, back to the park.
Did you feel that you couldn't leave at your own volition or accord?
Because commissioners?
Did you have a sense that you could not just leave unattended?
That's correct, commissioners, because that's correct.
All right, let's then go back to your statement. I want us to go to paragraph 23. So we are on page 10. So you go back to your statement file, and then you talk about the our arrest and detention. That's the topic there.
So must I start at paragraph 23?
Yes, start with we were detained.
We were detained at Boysen Station for a weekend until Monday, the 12th July 2021, when we appeared at court. While at Boysen Station holding cell, we were told allegedly per General Khan instruction, Kado, that we were not allowed to have visitors, water, and food. I'm referring to the food that were coming from outside.
Or not the prison food, but from the visitors?
Yeah, from the visitors.
Are you allowed to have food while you're in prison from the outside?
No.
Generally?
No.
Okay.
We were told that on Monday at court, the control prosecutor was refusing to place the matter on the roll until General Kado came to the court and insisted that the matter be placed on roll. The case was postponed for Tuesday, the 13th of July 2021. We were transferred to Johannesburg Correctional Services. which is called Sun City Prison. We were then remanded in custody for another 7 days for a formal bail application. During the bail trial, Captain Sivula testified that we were arrested for allegedly stealing 700 kg of cocaine. The presiding magistrate asked him if the exhibit were weighed and what method of weighing was used, of which Captain Sivula could not answer. The magistrate also suggested to him that Captain Sivula and his team rushed to arrest us prematurely. Again, he could not answer. We were ultimately granted bail on the 21st of July, having spent almost 2 weeks or 13 days in custody. I was then suspended in terms of Section 43(2) of the SAPS Act 68 of 1995 from the 9th July until the 21st. This type of suspension is applied when a member is arrested and incarcerated. It is a suspension without salary or allowances. My suspension was then uplifted after I was granted bail, and I resumed my duties on the 22nd July 2021. I was then suspended again for a period of 6 days in terms of Regulation 10(3) of SAPS Disciplinary Regulation of 2016 from the 30th September until the 20th November. I was charged with the following 3 charges departmental. 3.1, Regulation 54F, corruption. Regulation number 3.2, Regulation 54G, dealing in drugs. 3.3, Regulation 54, defeating the ends of justice. The chairperson of the disciplinary hearing, Brigadier Nevoulu, found me not guilty on all charges on the 7th February 2022. Attach. Then can I proceed?
Do you want to go to that ruling or you want to proceed? It's all, you can.
I don't know. You direct me.
Okay, let's proceed. If you want to come back to it, we can. But let's proceed to the next paragraph. And that will be 31 under the topic Poisons Cast 25210 of 2021.
Poisons Cast 252 of 10/2021, defeating the ends of justice and obstruction of police officers from executing their lawful duties. This case emanates from our arrest and detention at Aeroton as overseen by General Khan, Major General Kadwa, Brigadier Schobela, and Captain Sibula. After a thorough and proper consultation with our legal representatives, we then decided to open a case of defeating the ends of justice against all members mentioned above. The case was transferred to IPID National Office for investigation. After a lengthy, slow investigation by IPID, the matter was taken to the Deputy Public Prosecutor's Office in South Gauteng for decision. Advocate Chauke's office decided not to prosecute the suspect in this matter, and amounts reason given were that this matter was just a misunderstanding between different law enforcers, which was contrary to the reason or motivation given by the same office of Advocate Chauke when we presented our representation for our case to be withdrawn. IPID then recommended that all members who were involved in our arrest must be charged departmentally. General Khan was charged separately and members of DPCI were not charged. The departmental hearing of Major General Khan was presided by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhonazi, the KwaZulu-Natal provincial officer. I testified during those proceedings dealing with the event aforementioned. Major General Khan was found not guilty for defeating the ends of justice and other charges. What I found concerning is that while the commissioner was still deciding on the verdict of Major General Khan's matter, DPCI issued a report that cleared all their members. At the same time, there were media reports that
I think when you go to paragraph 34, it's a repeat. So what you can do is that if you go to, at the same time, you see on that paragraph, then you can pick it up from there.
Perhaps what we should do, Advocate Msikiti, we must just scratch out the first paragraph 34 on page 12, and he reads the complete paragraph 34 on page 13.
That seems to be practical. Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo.
So Warrant Officer, just go to page 13 and read that paragraph in its entirety.
from the beginning.
Yes.
34 years.
IP then recommended that all members who were involved in our arrest must be charged departmentally. General Khan was charged separately and members of DPCI were not charged. The departmental hearing of Major General Khan was presided by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner. I testified during those proceedings dealing with the events aforementioned. Major General Khan was found not guilty for defeating the ends of justice and other charges. What I found concerning is that while the commissioner was still deciding on the verdict of Major General Khan's matter, DPCI issued a report that cleared all their members. At the same time, there were media reports that witnesses of Major General Khan's hearing, which is us, were facing an imminent re-enrollment of their case. Our case was provisionally withdrawn on the 12th November 2022. I know and understand the contents of this statement. I regard the contents of this statement to be binding on my conscience. I have no objection in taking the prescribed oath. That's the end of my statement.
Thank you, General Warrant Officer Mahani. Can I just ask you, when you spoke about your arrest and detention, what are the charges that are proffered against you? I think you read the charges that were proffered against you departmentally. In terms of the criminal proceedings.
If I remember very well, dealing in drugs was one of the charges. Can't remember very well.
Officer, you don't have to guess. Please go to page 19 of the annexures, item 6, after your statement. The charges are there.
These are the departmental, it's a departmental outcome of expeditious process against number. That's my service number. Must I also read the service number in?
No, don't read that. We have
Okay.
We have those charges. I was asking about the criminal charges. Perhaps for complete sake, go to page 276 of the exhibit bundle.
Yeah, notice of rights in terms of the Constitution, Section 35 of Act number 108 of 1996. You are being detained for the following reason: dealing in drugs.
Yes, I wanted to find out, were there any other charges added to that subsequently?
No, it was only this one.
Okay. And then you mentioned that at paragraph 24 of your statement, that someone informed you that General Kadwa had issued instructions that you are not allowed to have visitors, water, and food. Back to your statement. Yeah.
Paragraph 24.
24, yes.
Yes. While at Boysen Station holding cell, we were told allegedly as per General Kadwa's instruction that we were not allowed to have visitors, water, and food.
Yes, what I'm asking you is that, is there a reason to believe why would General Kadwa issue such an instructions?
Because obviously we were treated or presumed to be high-profile suspect, and that's why no visitors were allowed and water.
And also you gave, you read in on the record that you, and when you say we, because you say we opened a case against General Kadwa, and then can you explain exactly who the we is?
We is the four of us that were arrested. That will be myself, Chief Mashaba, Warrant Officer Pakula, and Mr. Tumelongu.
And the complaint was against who? Can you remember all of them?
The complaint was against General Kadwa, Major General Kadwa, Major General Khan, Brigadier Sekhobela, and Captain Sibula.
Why would you open a case against, is it General Sekhobela?
General Sekhobela, yes.
Yes, why would you specifically open a case against General Sekhobela?
Because she was also active in that scene.
But being active does not necessarily warrant a criminal case being opened. There has to be more than just being active.
This was based on her seniority, because she was a senior to Captain Sibula. So by so saying, we assumed that maybe the instruction might have coming to her.
And I think for the record, it's Brigadier, ne?
Brigadier Sekhobela.
Sekhobela, yes. I think we have
Yes.
to keep that correct. It's Brigadier.
Brigadier Sekhobela.
Yes,
Yes, I'm talking about it.
yes. All right, and then you say that the charges were withdrawn against you in November 2022. What is the current position of those charges as we speak?
The current situation in regard to those charges, the case was finally, we made a representation to the NDPP's office through our our lawyers and advocate,
Chauke.
no, not the one who passed on. He was working at NDPP's office.
Is it the cock?
Advocate Dikok, may his soul rest in peace. He is the one who decided on our matter. So the charges were finally withdrawn.
And that was in 2022.
That's correct.
Now, if you go to, on the very same file, the statement file on page 33, so the statement file you have with you,
Yes, I've got it there.
you see that there's a letter from the Director of Public Prosecutions,
I see it, Commissioners.
and the letter is directed to Major General E.A. Kadwa.
That's correct, I see it.
Yes, and this matter, it relates to the request for the re-enrollment of the docket, Poison's case number 9807/2021. And that's the matter, or the state versus Mohana and 3 others.
That's correct, Commissioners.
And you see that the last paragraph on that letter, it says this: the office has decided to prosecute the suspect in this matter. This matter will be enrolled as soon as practically possible once the pending investigation have been finalized. And then it says on the next page, the investigation officer must please consult the advocate dealing with this matter as soon as possible. And then the letter is signed by J.M. Serapro. What is your understanding of that letter, Warrant Officer?
My understanding is that this matter, the case that was finally decided, or which was finally withdrawn by the NDPP's office, there was, I don't know, where is this letter coming from, that the matter must be re-enrolled.
Have you been contacted since the letter in February 2025
No,
about the possible re-enrollment?
not at all, Commissioners.
And this letter before today, were you aware of it?
Yes, I was aware of this letter.
How did you become aware of that letter?
I can't really remember whether it was from our legal representative that is dealing with our litigation.
Can I just clarify? You say Advocate Dikok withdrew the charges in 2022.
That's correct, Commissioner.
There's a letter which talks about provisional withdrawal. The provisional withdrawal was in October 2022.
No, can I just clarify that? Commissioners, the provisionally withdrawn one, this one was pending the representations that because we first made a representation to DPP's office at South Gauteng, but the representation were declined. So we then escalated our representation to NDPP's office. Then, while we were waiting for the representation, our case kept on being reminded. Then the judge said she was no longer happy about the unnecessary postponement. So as a result, the matter was provisionally withdrawn, pending the outcome of the representation from the NDPP's office. However, the date for the trial was set. It was arranged. But before the trial could even started, then we got good news that our case has been finally withdrawn from NDPP's office. That is how this matter was buried.
Mr. Msikiri, do we have a letter that confirms that final withdrawal?
No, Commissioner Baloi, what we have is it's an order, that order of provisional withdrawal, nothing else. Perhaps to warrant Mahane's benefit, there is a letter that was sent by his attorneys to follow up on this alleged re-enrollment. But that letter was never responded to, but that letter it was sent in 2025 in May,
Is it the one on 29?
and it's the one from BDK on page 29
9.
of the statement file.
Yeah, but that letter speaks, from the attorney, speaks of a provisional withdrawal while awaiting the decision of the National Prosecuting Service. And then it speaks in paragraph 3 of correspondence in 2024. So it doesn't mention a final withdrawal in 2022.
Yes, that's as far as we can take
That's
it,
what you
Commissioner.
have.
We're not aware of anything further than that.
Thank you.
Commissioners, sorry, can I just clarify something? I think I've shared this with the findings by Advocate Tikok with the evidence leader. So I don't know, maybe he might have missed it, but here's the ruling from the office of the NDPP.
Just wait, I'll try and direct you to that. That should be the outcome of the representations and providing reasons why the state is not prosecuting. Is that what you are referring to?
Yes.
Yes, no, we
Does that
have
not
that.
have a red pagination top right-hand corner?
I beg your say, Commissioner.
Does it not have a page number? A red
No,
page
this one I
number?
just,
You took it from elsewhere.
no, yes, but I shared
All
with the
right,
the
okay,
evidence
all
leader.
right, all
So
right.
luckily I had,
Look at the date on the last page of that letter. We will tell you if it's in the bundle or not. Is it 21 June 2024?
It is in here.
yes.
Yes, then it's on page 23 of your annexures. After item 8.
Oh, sorry, Commissioners, I've got it.
It is the
Yes.
same letter.
Yeah.
This is the same that I'm talking about. I
Yes,
don't
so
know if,
it is in the bundle.
my apology, Commissioners.
No problem.
That's fine. The question is, is there anything you want to say about that letter? Is there anything you wanted to highlight to the commission?
Commissioners, I'd like to take the commissioners to paragraph 6.6. This talks to the reasons as to why Advocate Tikok decided to withdraw the matter. Captain Sibola alleged that Sergeant Doe's marked police vehicle was parked in such a way to block the way for Mohana's vehicle, that is a black Nissan buggy, not to leave the scene. 8.18. During the consultation with Mr. Brett, it became known that photographs were taken by Scania personnel when the container was open. The said photographs were sent to Mr. Brett, who made them available to the state during consultation. Among requests by the prosecutor, it is clear from the photographs that there was no vehicle blocking the way for Mohana's vehicle not to leave the scene.
Upon request, not among.
Commissioner,
Please continue, please continue.
further, the photographs show the moment before the containers were opened until the contents were removed, clearly indicating that Scania's personnel were not prevented from the accused from taking photos, and suggesting that nothing untoward was taking place at the scene. Ms. Wenzel also confirmed that there was no interference from the accused when they were taking photos. It would have been impossible for the accused to deny the existence of the drugs in question at a later stage and to deny the allegation makes against them. Sergeant Sape stated that photo album was incomplete as their vehicle was also photographed during the incident, which was done on the instruction of Warrant Officer Ricoto. Warrant Officer Wood was confronted with this allegation, and she stated that upon her arrival at the scene, which was already at 11:45, there was such confusion and utter chaos. As a result of this size of the parking area, Warrant Officer Wood could proceed to take photos to the scene as she would normally do. When they finally allowed her to start, the entire scene was a stuff up, and there was no control whatsoever. She was informed that only the buggy was involved, but later it was said that the two more vehicles were involved. She stated that initially it was everybody was involved, then nobody, then somebody. The scene was a joke. She also indicated that she only left the scene at 2 the next morning. Further, Warrant Officer Wood denies that she took photographs of Sergeant Sape's vehicle. The scenes that were photographed in the accused possession.
May I just find out, Warrant Officer, whether you're going to read all the way to paragraph 10 at page 26, or you want to select certain parts?
Commissioner, I'm being guided by the evidence leader. I don't know if I must proceed or I think you can advise me.
You are the one who said, I have a document that I have shared with the evidence leader. And so
That's correct.
I thought there were certain salient points that you wanted to
No, actually,
to draw our attention to in that document. Now I see you are reading this entire document.
actually, I wanted to read 6.6. No, because I thought the evidence leader will stop me. So thanks for that. I was gonna read right through.
Thank you, thank you.
Can I ask you about 6.8, where they say, Officer Wood says the entire scene was a stuff up. Do you agree with her assessment that the scene was a stuff up?
A person like, as I have already alluded that the scene was not properly managed.
And who stuffed it up?
Initially, it was myself and Chief Mashaba. Then because now at this time, the scene was already under the control of DPCI members.
But you had not secured it, that's why it was a stuff up.
I agree with you, Commissioner.
Yes, I want to go back to the 7 Series BMW.
Warrant Officer, this letter, it's the letter that you say contained or advised a final withdrawal of the charges.
That's correct.
Okay, now you had said 2022. If you look at page 26, it's in 2024, June 2024. That's the last page. And then if you go back to page 23, so it's in 2024. And then if you go back to page 23, you can see the subject line. The letter is addressed to Major General Kadwa. And then the subject line is request for reasons by yourself, meaning Kadwa, in the matter of State versus Mahana and three others. So you see that Advocate Dikok is actually responding to
The request,
General Kadwa.
that's correct.
And then lastly, and perhaps importantly to what this letter is conveying, at paragraph 10, go back to paragraph 26. So before that, all the many paragraphs, they summarize what is in the statements and what those statements say. But in paragraph 10, this is what he tells Kadwa, not your attorneys, not you. Dikok says, after careful consideration of all available evidence and factors, I'm of the view that there are no reasonable prospects of a successful prosecution. That's the last thing he says. You see that?
I see that, Commissioners.
So this letter on its face does not convey that charges have been withdrawn provisionally. Do you accept that?
Maybe
It doesn't say that.
it doesn't say that.
Okay, all right, that's all I was clarifying.
Okay, because maybe is that
Because then the next thing that happened in 2025, in February 2025, is then Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions informs General Kadwa of the intention to reinstate. You see that?
I see that.
And that you find at page 27.
I see that, Commissioners.
Yes. Okay. I was just clarifying.
No,
that
it's
there's
now it's clarity.
It's
So
clear.
meaning the matter is still.
alive, sorry. Sorry, still alive.
I think to be fair to you, Warrant Officer, on page 32, the NPA wrote a letter in which they say they agree with the recommendations not to pursue the prosecutions herein, and they say they are aware that the matter was struck from the roll. So it may be that this is what you're referring to when you say there was a provisional withdrawal. Because you said there was a date and the matter went to court, they kept asking for postponement until the judge or magistrate got upset with them.
That was in 2022.
2022.
Yes.
Okay.
And then in 24 is the letter that Commissioner Kumalo is referring to, where they say we agree with the recommendations not to pursue the prosecution. That's in January 24. You see that at page
I see that and I
32.
follow.
Then in 25, you have the prosecution, the deputy director saying they will reinstate. At page 28, it ends at
I
page
see it to page 33.
Yeah.
Is it the one that Commissioner is talking about?
Yeah,
there?
it's the same letter, actually. Yes, it's exactly the same letter that is at page 27. So yes, that's in 2025.
I see that, Commissioner.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Warrant Officer, I wanted to go back to the BMW 7 Series. It's not clear to me what happened to that vehicle and the occupant of that vehicle once the other police officers arrived at the scene and you were asked to sit in your car by General Khan, and at some point you were then detained and taken to Boyson's police station.
That's correct.
What happened to the BMW RF7 series and the occupant of that vehicle? Was he also arrested?
Yes, that is Mr. Nku,
He was arrested with you and taken to,
to Boysons.
To Boysons.
Yes.
and do you know what happened to the charges against him?
No, we were all charged with the same charges.
You were all charged
He
with
was
the same.
accused number 4
Yes.
in our case.
And throughout the process, as you were instructing the Scania people to assist you to load the bags onto your van, what was the owner of this vehicle doing? Because we know he was there at the scene, we saw the vehicle. What was he doing as the bags were being loaded onto your bakkie,
He was sitting in his car
sitting in his car,
the whole time.
just observing?
Yes, that's correct, Commissioners.
And why did you not ask him to leave? Because you had now established that there were bags in the truck that were not supposed to be there. You've taken custody of them. They are now in the back of your Nissan bakkie. What was he still doing there?
Commissioners, as I've indicated earlier, that according to Mr. Nku's handler, which is Chief Mashaba, he explained that Nku had previously gave information to other police. So the outcome tends that the information was positive, but Nku was told that they didn't find anything.
Yes. Now we are at the stage where his information has checked out. You've now established that there are these bags in the container. You've asked that the truck be moved forward so that you can remove the bags from the container. The bags are being removed. You even said you effected arrest of 3 people, the driver and 2 other people. My question is, the information has checked out. What is the occupant of the BMW still doing there? Because now you know that he has given you the information with Mashaba. The information has checked out. Why do you not excuse him? Why does he remain at the scene together with these bags while all of you are there? Was the plan that you were going to live together with him and go book these drugs in his presence?
No.
So what was he still doing there?
I definitely cannot answer to that one.
Because you now had custody of the drugs. They are in your van. They are not in Mashaba's car.
That's correct, Commissioner.
And you can explain why he remained at the crime scene.
I would say so.
But you are a police officer, warrant officer.
No, I agree.
Were you not putting him in danger? You've recovered, we now know, 715 kilograms of cocaine. And you know who the informant is who assisted the police in that regard. Are you not exposing the informant to danger? Because if those drugs belonged to the people at Scania, then surely they would know who the informant was, because he's in plain sight, parked his car next to Mashaba's vehicle. Was that not a concern for you?
No, it didn't cross my mind.
I have a worry that the presence of that person there was to look at those drugs and to see what was to happen to them. And I put it no higher than that it is a worry and a suspicion. I'm not stating it as a fact. And I'm doing it only to test your thought on this issue. I want to hear what your comment is.
Really, I won't have an honest answer to that. I would also say it can, in fact, it was worrying. But since commissioners, this guy was not taking any part. And he was always in his car.
Yeah, because informants usually don't want to be found out. They don't expose themselves and show whoever the perpetrator is that I'm part of this operation. That's not consistent with behavior of an informant. An informant gives information and they have nothing to do with the operation. But this one that follows the police and goes to the scene of the raid and remains until he's arrested later in the day, I find that really troubling.
I don't have any comment for that, Commissioner.
Thank you.
We also heard from evidence here that in fact, police officers refuse to tell other police officers who their informants are because they don't want to place their sources at risk. And here you are in full plain sight of everybody, the police, the Scania people who are members of the public really, but as Commissioner Kumalo says, the person who has made a disclosure about the drugs, you, the one SAPS member who was early on the scene, do not see the risk or problem of exposing someone who has been said to be an informer. I share that concern. Do you know anything about handling informers?
That's correct. I know I've attended the handling informal handlers course.
Okay, and you had no problem here? You didn't see the problem that you've got an informer who not only is exposed, but in fact ends up being arrested actually?
I would prefer to this question, Commissioners. Actually, it depends on the handler. It depends on the handler because sometimes I've worked operations with other members where we'll find that there's a handler inside there's an informer inside the handler's car. That one I can attest to that. So that, like I'm saying, that it solely depends on the handler because as the handler, you are the principal of your informant.
Can you imagine a reason or think of a reason why a traffic officer or traffic official would have an informer?
No, it helps a lot because other cases, you need an informer to solve them. Like,
What, to issue tickets
no. Commissioners,
or to put up a speed trap? Just explain
I-
what role you see for an informer or for a traffic officer the functions of a traffic officer, right? What role or what need you see would be served by a traffic officer having an informer? I ask genuinely because
yes, and I'm also-
I can't think of any reason.
to be honest with the commissioners, Gauteng Traffic Police, they are the only thing that they don't do, of which I can put my neck on the block. They don't do investigation. They've got units like their crime intelligence within them. They've got a saturation unit that deals with hijackings and other crimes. And I understand from Mr. Mashaba. Mashaba is currently a provincial head of a unit called SLEU. It's for Special Law Enforcement Unit. They do almost everything. That's why they even have an AWI. When there are CITs, they also respond.
But thank you.
Warrant Officer Mahani, can you, on the exhibit file, go to page 31, 31. That's the bigger file, the 3. That is the inside. That is the inside of the BMW, you accept that on that picture?
I see it, Commissioners.
You accept that, that it's an inside of a BMW?
I see this picture.
You see the steering, what's on the steering there, what emblem is there?
Oh, next to this thing, there's water.
No, on the steering, the emblem is there.
It's a BMW.
Thank you. And then if you go to the next page, you will see that on photo 23 and 24, it's the same inside of the BMW, but in particular on photo 24, you will see that there in orange, there is what looks like amount of money.
I see that, Commissioners.
And then if you go on page 33, the top picture, there is at least it's quite clear there that there is an amount of money there. Do you know anything about that money?
Not at all. I don't have any idea.
Okay, what we are told is that that's Mr. Nku's car, and he had with him, that amount was a total of 60,000 rand.
I heard about it.
Yes, and what I wanted to ask you and get your comment is that the theory is that that money was possibly going to be used to pay either you or Mr. Mashaba or both of you as a reward for recovering the drugs. What's your comment?
I totally disagree with that comment because, I mean, even if they say I'm very cheap, I wouldn't change drugs worth 200 million for a 60,000. That's my take.
You did not know how much the drugs were worth at the time. So you cannot say I wouldn't change drugs worth 200 million for 60,000. You had not seen the drugs, so you don't know how much they were worth.
No, I'm answering because I know that those drugs worth 250 million.
Only know now. On the day you did not know.
But to be quite honest with you, Commissioners, I wouldn't do that.
Is it not unusual for an informant to walk around with 60,000 rands in cash?
Commissioners, to be honest with you, Mr. Nku, when he was introduced to me, because I wanted to have a background, but even though we didn't engage much because of time and everything, I was told he's a businessman who was in a distribution sector. He had some distribution companies in Limpopo.
Distribution of what?
Coke and
Cocaine?
No. Coca-Cola. Not Coke as in a cocaine.
No, just clarifying.
No, not that one. And because it was for the first time, I mean, he looked presentable and smart and everything.
And driving a new 7 Series BMW.
That's correct.
You said you were told he's an informer.
No. He's an informer. Besides being an informer, he was running his business, not that he was living as an informer. No.
Let's go to page 396, Warrant Officer Mahani.
Can you just, page 35 and 36? That is still the same BMW, and I could be wrong. Can you just clarify why is that money now in police bags? Is it after it was recovered by the police?
Even though I'm not privy, because I didn't, but I will assume that It was now inside an evidence bag.
So he did not have police exhibit bags. I think that's the point I'm driving at,
No, but I think this was subsequent to his arrest.
after it was recovered in his car.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Can we go to page 396? We are on the same bundle, the exhibit bundle.
Three,
Now, during your exchange with Commissioner Baloyi, you were quite adamant that while your black bike was loaded, you were
Because-
nowhere in position or of intention to leave the premises.
that's correct.
Can you then please, for the record, read in what is stated there at paragraph 6, just to assist you in terms of, this is a statement by one Jolene Wenzel or Kukamur, as it seems to be a maiden surname, of Scania.
As we opened the container, black bags fell out of the container and the police officer said it was drugs. The police then instructed us to load them inside the Nissan buggy, and after loading them, the tall officer came with cable ties and said he is arresting us. You are arresting me for receiving the goods. The driver was transporting the goods from Devon, and Cornelius because the goods belong to him. He said they will be taking us to nearest police station, and I called my director informing him about the arrest and that we must meet at the police station.
And then go to paragraph 7.
I told them that I won't go with them, but I will drive my car. I then came to my office to collect my belongings and went back. When I got back to the container, police from Poisons arrived. After some time, the police officer who was in the red vehicle also arrived and obtained my statement. While we were still busy writing my statement, police from Flying Squad and the Hawks also arrived. They dealt with the situation. At about 1700 hours, the police officers who arrived first and the warehouse were arrested by the police officers who alleged they were from Hawks.
Then, no, that's fine. You can leave it there. What I wanted to demonstrate to you is that even this evidence by Jolene, it accords with what you had informed your colleagues, that you were going to leave the premises. And as Commissioner Baloyi, in fact, suggested to you that it is the presence or the arrival of the Poisons that stopped your move, as it's quite clear here that Ms. Jolene was informed that she will be taken to the police station, and the only thing she asked is that I told him that I won't go with them, but I will drive my car. And then he went to the office to collect belongings and went back. What is your comment?
I differ with this statement from Jolene. I differ completely so.
You differ in respect of what?
That we were intending to leave before the scene was processed. I still stand by my words. That
So then your testimony is that she is incorrect to say that? And then Warrant Officer Pakula has to be also incorrect? And also because the same information was relayed to Captain Midupi, that is also incorrect. So you have 3 people, according to you, that are lying about your intentions to leave. And the only person who's telling the truth is you, that you never intended to leave, despite your bike being in a position to go.
I'm the one who was at the scene. Like I'm saying, it was still early for us to leave the scene. The scene was still going to be processed. I still maintain that if we had intention to leave, would have left even before the poisons arrived because they came 30 minutes later.
We'll come back to that because it was what we know is that at least you were distracted by the falling of the bag. One of the bags was stuck. That's why you couldn't leave as quickly as you wanted to. What do you say to that?
I also say that's not correct. Like now we're talking about the intention to leave, and there are allegations or hearsays that my buggy was blocked while leaving the scene, and I can challenge this commission that if that is the case, if a footage can be brought that will suggest that my car was leaving, then I must go straight to jail.
No, the evidence, it's quite clear, and we've seen from the photos, is that your bike was loaded. You yourself testified that you told the officers from Boysons that you were going to take those, so you were leaving, you were going to take those bags with you to Alberton. The same message is contained in more than at least in more than two statements. One by, two statements by Warrant Officer Pagula and one statement by Captain Midupi. And also the fourth person now, or at least the fourth statement by Jolene Kukamur says the same thing of your intention to leave.
Like I'm saying, I won't agree to this. And I don't even agree to that our intention was to leave the scene. That is incorrect.
I won't take it higher than that, except to say to you, your version, given what I have told you, and these are versions that were given under oath as well, it's highly improbable, given the overwhelming evidence in front of the commission that you had every intention to leave.
If that's I would say if that's the opinion, I'm blatantly saying no. That's not correct, and I'll stand by my words.
Yes, no, that I understand to be your final answer, despite the overwhelming evidence. And you say that the only time you lied is that you lied to the Boysons officials about your intention to leave and take those to Alberton.
Can I answer to that?
Yes, you can answer.
Commissioners, in our conversation, there's nowhere in our conversation between myself, Chief Mashaba, and the Boysons, there was nowhere I said or we said we're leaving. The only thing that we said, we were talking about the detention of the suspect and the booking of the exhibit.
I won't belabor the point. Let's go to, there's a file, it should say on the spine, it should say Francois Stein file.
Because
Yes, they will assist you to get to that file. I want you to get to page 137 of that file.
yeah, I'm there.
Yes, this is a National Instruction 1 of 2025, and it provides different phases that must be followed when handling exhibits in situations like this. But I want us to focus on, you will see if you go to page 136, just the page before, This phase is called the reporting phase. And then I want you to go to the next page on 137 and read into the record what it says there under 4.
I'm lost where, once I go to
137,
137,
then let's go 4 up.
record of all action on the computerized system.
No.
Top of the page,
Does it say
any
137
member.
on top?
Or any member who arrives at the scene of crime first must take the responsibility of the first responder as set out in this national instruction until an appropriate member from the division, visible policing or detective service takes over this responsibility.
And at Ayrton, at least you'll accept that you would be the first responder to the situation.
That's correct.
Now, please go to the bottom of the page at 10, says responding phase.
Sorry, can he read B also? He read only A before he goes to the responding phase.
Please read B on 4. So you did 4A, then do 4B.
Report his or her arrival at the crime scene to the appropriate dispatch at the community service center or 10111 center.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Then let's go to 10, responding phase. Then read 1.
The first responder must approach the crime scene with due consideration to his or her own safety, the safety of others, and the preservation and the integrity of the crime scene.
And according to your good self, did you do any of those?
The preservation and integrity of the crime scene, that one I tried my level best.
And the safety of others?
No. You cannot even begin to say that, warrant officer. You accepted earlier when basically all three of us engaged you that
Commissioners, I'll say it was an oversight.
the container was opened, the seal was broken, in fact, and the container was opened. No pictures were taken before any of that was done. And then a number of people handled the bags with their bare hands and lumped them onto the back of your buggy. Everything was a stuffer, as one of the people who prepared these reports said, and you accepted that it was a stuffer. So you cannot even begin to say that you did your best to preserve the scene. You cannot.
I agree, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Please try to remember your testimony so that you don't appear to be at least committing perjury or at least providing contradictory versions. Now, when you go to 1A and we talk about your own safety, you were asked earlier on by Commissioner Kumar as well to say you did not consider or at least ensure that your own safety was intact, more so that you chose to drive to a position or to a situation where there could potentially, or there's a risk that there could be even an ambush because you are escorting a truck full with at least suspected drugs and without any protection. You accepted that?
Accept that.
Yes, and the same would apply when I asked you specifically to say to you, do you find it appropriate and safe for Mr. Nku himself to be there in situations where he had provided you with all the necessary information? Do you remember that?
I remember that, Commissioners.
And I say to his safety as well was not taken into account. You accept that?
I accept that.
Yes. Then let's go to the next page, 138.
Page
138.
138.
Yes, go on top. There's 3. The first responder must.
The first responder must assess the situation with regard to initial observation, arrest the suspect as per the prescribed, maintain the first responder report, Annexure D2, and ensure that all unauthorized persons are removed from the crime scenes and they remain outside the outer cordon.
And at least on this score, you'll accept that you did not, especially on the last one, you did not ensure that all unauthorized persons are removed from the scene and they remain outside the outer cordon of it. In fact, you did the opposite because you allowed the civilians to handle the exhibit. You accept that?
I accept that.
What is the first responder report, Annex D2? What goes into that?
The first responder report, I'm not too sure about this.
Okay, so you didn't complete it. That's what it means. I mean, you're not sure what it is. We must take it. You didn't complete it.
No, I didn't complete.
Okay.
I think in this case, commissioners, they are talking about, let's say, a murder scene whereby maybe this was dispatched from 10-1. Because
Why do you say that? You don't know what the report is, the D2 annexure, so you can't speak to when does it apply. I'm happy with your answer, or to leave it at you saying you're not sure. What is this D2?
I'll take that.
You
that
can leave it at
I'm
that.
not sure about it.
Okay.
This
And then,
is- oh,
sorry.
This is broadly about crime scene management. That's what it is. So it's not about murder or any specific or particulars. It's crime scene management.
Okay, you accept that?
Accept
It
that.
doesn't apply to just murder. Okay. And you've accepted to the evidence leader that you were the first responder at this scene.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I'm a bit confused because much earlier you said this was Mr. Mashaba's scene. You said it was Chief Mashaba's scene. Now we know there's a national instruction that instructs every SAPS member that if you're the first one at the scene, here's what you get to do. You did not do that. You let Chief Mashaba be the owner of the scene. Can you just explain it, just to make sure that I don't
By the
misunderstand?
virtue of Chief Mashaba being the custodian of the information and a commission officer, he was also responsible for or it was also
So
appropriate.
are you saying what you read earlier doesn't apply to you? I mean, you were the first SAPS member on the scene, acting on information from a traffic officer and an informer. You're the SAPS member on the scene, and you've accepted that you're a first responder, and you accept, I thought, that what you read earlier in the reporting phase, that you accept that it applied to you on the day. Did I misunderstand you in this
No,
discussion?
you had me correct, yeah.
Okay, so another thing that we see is you go there with an informer and someone who gave you the information, which is what Chief Mashaba is here. You get there and you let him be in charge of the scene, notwithstanding that which you read. 8(4) A and B. You did not comply with that.
I take that, commissioners.
Okay, you accept that.
Yes, Commissioner.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Msipin.
Are you aware, Warrant Officer, that there's another national instruction? Is that one of 2017 that General Musikiri referred to in relation to the Port Shepstone bust? Are you aware that there's another national instruction that deals specifically with handling of drug busts and drug scenes? Are you aware of that?
No, I am not aware of that, Commissioner.
And I assume that you don't know what it says.
No.
Do you see why it was inappropriate for you to be at a drug bust to begin with? You're simply not qualified to be there. I think that point was made earlier.
I agree, Commissioner.
And even if we were relying only on this national instruction that deals with crime scenes, we looked at 8, even 9, if you go to page 137, item 10, paragraph 10. Remember we dealt with item 8 and I asked you to read B. And B deals with the reporting phase, but even the responding phase, if you look at sub 2, bottom of the page on 137, on arrival at the crime scene, the first responder must confirm his or her arrival at the crime scene to the dispatcher. So you must still call 10-111 and say, I'm at a crime scene, I need support, this is what the complaint is about, I need people who are qualified to handle this scene. You had no business going there telling people to open the container and to take out bags from the container. That is simply not your job. And you had no business doing that. Do you want to comment?
No comment.
And this doesn't just apply, I hope it's a lesson, not just to you, but other officers who are in your possession, because they may never get the opportunity to sit where you are sitting. But they must also know that there are prescripts that are applicable to how police perform their functions. And they must familiarize themselves with those prescripts so that they do not get into trouble. Do you accept that?
I accept that.
Thank
I don't take it lightly. It's noted.
Okay, then let's deal with the last section I want to refer to, which is the controlling phase. Can you read that into the record? So 11.1, the first responder must execute.
The first responder must execute all the duties of a crime scene commander until the handover to the scene crime management, crime scene commander has been completed. Taking control and evaluation of the crime scene, the first responder upon arrival at the scene must, after taking all the necessary steps to prevent the contamination and disturbance of the crime scene, assume control of the crime scene from the relevant party by accepting the handover of the crime scene from such party, identify the nature of the incident, give CTRAP to the dispatcher, arrange for the suspect to be removed from the crime scene as soon as possible if an arrest has been made. With due consideration of the integrity of physical evidence, assist the injured person if the member is competent and certified, or contact relevant authorities as the matter of priority. Document the place where the injured person was found and make notes accordingly.
I think it's fine that the rest they talk about where there is injuries or possible fatalities, which we're not there. You can go to B.
After taking control of the crime scene, the first responder must evaluate the safety status of the crime scene and request assistance of a safety official as identified and in accordance with the contingency plan if required. The first responder must direct the emergency services and other official role players at the scene to prevent evidence from being disturbed or contaminated.
Let's go to 3. I just want you to read into the record 3B.
The first responder must secure and protect the crime scene by establishing an inner cordon around the perimeter of the crime scene, as well as an outer cordon around the inner cordon to enable members to perform their task within the inner cordon. Protecting obvious and evident exhibit from contamination and element of destruction. Completing the exhibit log. If the exhibit have 2 people moved at a crime scene, information need to be given the crime scene examiner upon his or her arrival to indicate the original position of the exhibit as found at the crime scene and to capture it on the drawing plan. Dealing with,
Three-
No, that's
sorry.
fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to go.
3A says you must establish an inner cordon around the perimeter of the crime scene. That was not done here.
the inner cordon was,
You didn't create, as the first responder, you did not create a cordon of the crime scene, did you?
with the assistance of the poisons.
Yes, before they arrived. We know you started doing things before the boys and people arrived. And I'm asking you about before the boys and people arrived.
No, that was
You
not
had not
done.
created any cordon at all.
That was not done.
Yes, thank you.
Did you complete Annexure D5, the exhibits log? Because this had to be completed before you moved them from the container to your vehicle.
Commissioners, I don't know, but this is, what is this? It is, because actually, I would say nothing was done. Because we were waiting for other role players to arrive.
But you've already removed the exhibits from the primary scene, which is the container, and you have put them in the back of your bakkie. And it says here in C, you must complete the exhibit log if the exhibits have to be moved at the crime scene. Do you see that it says that? In C.
The exhibit was not yet moved and
No, but you moved them from the container to your
to the
vehicle.
back,
Yes.
but we were still at the scene.
So what then is the primary scene according to you? So the scene is the Scania complex. It's not the container. According to you, as long as they are in the Scania campus, for lack of a better word, they are still on the scene. They were not moved from the primary scene.
I would say, I will agree.
So even if they were in the back of the 7 Series BMW, according to you, that would still be at the scene.
There was no way that they would be.
No, I qualified it with an if. I didn't suggest that they were there. I said if they were taken out of the container and put in the back of the 7 Series BMW, they would still not have moved from the primary scene, according to you.
I'm having a problem with the 7 Series because it's not a state vehicle.
I have a problem that it was there in the first place. So what I'm putting to you is a proposition. Because you are saying the scene is the entire Scania campus. Now, since the BMW was in the campus, within the campus, on your logic, even if these exhibits were put inside the BMW, they still would not have been moved from the primary scene because that whole place is the scene.
Commissioner, you know, I don't want to associate or take the exhibit into the BMW because it's not a state vehicle.
I will leave it there.
Okay, let me try and help complete this. 3C says the information needs to be given to the crime scene examiner upon his arrival to indicate and underline this, the original position of the exhibits as found at the crime scene and to capture it on the drawing plan. So the original position of these exhibits would have been the container and where you say they fell when you opened the door and they fell before you took any of them onto your bakkie. According to 3C, that is the original place or position of the exhibits when you found them. It's in the thingy and in the container and on the ground where you say they fell.
Commissioners, I'm asking for a comfort break. Yeah.
Chair, It's almost 4 o'clock. I think we can end it here, Chair, unless there are further questions. I had one or two questions.
Let's
but-
take a quick break. We'll come back just now.
Thank you.
Let's adjourn.
Au batla re mo sebaka. Mineral ke mono. Mineral compilation.
Thank you, Chair. Warrant Officer Mahane, is it fair to say to you that in this whole incident at Ayrton, you did not fully appreciate the magnitude and probably the seriousness of the situation that you were dealing with at the end of the day? That is why you committed so many errors or oversights, as you call them.
My answer to that will be that really, if I anticipated that the situation will turn out like that, I would have done better. Taking into consideration that by the time we arrived there, it was the only two of us, Mr. Mashaba, and should we maybe have got the information like before and have a full knowledge as to how big or how the gravity or the magnitude of that consignment, or we would have done better.
I specifically requested you when we were busy with your testimony to say that you are here to testify for yourself, and I would appreciate your answers. And for the record, to confine that applies to you, especially if you are going to say, with the benefit of hindsight, you have to speak to yourself, or at least to your own actions and decisions, not.
No, I understand that.
Thank you.
If I had an opportunity of having a full information about the drugs and that kind of consignment, I think I would have done better than I did.
In fact, when the chair asked you in the morning to say when you first arrived at Yellow Jersey Logistics, and had you opened the container and you saw the drugs, and he asked you what you would have done, you said you would have then, stopped and called the necessary people to attend to the crime scene. Do you remember that? Giving that answer?
I would say yes.
Yes, and
Is that because you don't remember?
Yeah, because if you can remember.
I also remember. Yes, Mr.
and
Mosiki.
the simple proposition is that you should have done exactly that when you arrived. At the very least, if one was to be fair to you, at least as soon as you say in your own testimony, as soon as you saw the black bags falling off, what you should have done is to simply say, do not touch. We don't know what's in here. Cordon off and call the right people. Did you accept that?
Accept that?
Yes. Chair, those will be our questions.
Thank you. Just something very quick, Warrant Officer. Truth be told, I think we were humoring you to even take you through several paragraphs of this national instruction on crime scene management. I'm saying we were humoring you because we all know that everything that could have gone wrong actually did go wrong. And the function of that was, as you admitted this morning when I engaged you, both of you were clueless as to how to manage a crime scene. That is why we have the mess that you ended up with. I'm just summing up the entire scene. Do you accept that? I think so.
I accept that with both hands, and I'm not taking this very like, if given another opportunity, I think I would handle this kind of situation very differently. If I may come across such a situation.
Yes, I'm saying we are humoring you, taking you through these prescripts because you simply do not know them, and therefore there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that you could have complied with them because you knew nothing about them. Do you accept that?
I accept that, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Chair, can I put a last question, just to piggyback on your last exchange with Warrant Officer Mahane? And the opposite of it, Warrant Officer, is that it's either that you do not appreciate the fullness of the situation you're dealing with, but at worst for you is that you were complicit to the process of intercepting these drugs to at least assist the intended recipient to recover them. What is your comment to that?
That one, I'm totally, I still maintain that. Beside me not handling the situation in the correct manner, but for the version that I was intending to take those drugs to the recipient, I totally differ with that. Taking into account, I mean, if you can go through, I mean, our phones were taken to check if there was any link between us prior to that. I had no conversation with, it was just a coincidence that the information came through me.
Okay, no, lastly, throughout this, Warrant Officer, have you ever asked Chief Mashaba as to why he did not call his own colleagues in the traffic department and instead called people from at least your direction, being Pukungwane, and you ultimately? Have you ever asked him why he never called his own people?
Yes, and the reason was that because this thing, the information was about Rodicop, which happened to be in Alberton. That is when he thought about Warrant Officer Pukungwane. And that Warrant Officer Pukungwane referred him to me.
And you were the right person in terms of the jurisdiction.
No. When Mr. Mashaba phoned me, he said, can you please assist with getting someone? Or he said, can you please assist me? I've got information. It was just an open invitation, not that I had something or I was special in something.
But he needed someone.
Yes, like I said, after he called me, I called some sergeant from dog unit as I was busy. So there was no intention that specifically he want me to handle the situation.
In all of this, do you think, or do you believe, or it come across your mind to think that perhaps you were used in all of this while you're not being aware?
Definitely, I won't say that, I won't have an answer because I was just doing this innocently. Innocently, not thinking of something behind.
Yes, hence I'm saying you were used. Remember, we have the drugs. They are high-value drugs. Someone has to retrieve them. And they need someone who's a police to assist that process.
It was, I would say, for me, it was just an unfortunate position. If I may say that I fell into that trap, but I had no intention or I had no clue that something behind might be happening. Much as I say, I innocently went there, not even having an idea who the informer is and how was this information gathered, that maybe, if I can say, I might have fell into a trap, if there's a better way of saying that. But innocently, I attended the scene, and out of the little knowledge that I had, I thought I was doing the right thing. But to this commission, I can safely say I had no intention of taking the drugs or of running away from that. That one, I'll still repeat it. If there's something that maybe the commission will think that I was involved in another way, God knows that I'm innocent.
Yes, no,
That-
you accept that being used does not require you to have the intention. Because you, as you correctly put that, you might be innocently thinking that you are doing your job, but ultimately you were deceived into assisting someone to intercept a
Like
cargo.
I'm saying, and I'll still repeat this over and over to prove that indeed I knew nothing about the interception of these drugs. Like you are saying, I can say I was in a blind spot. I was in the blind spot. I was just doing this, offering an assistance to another member.
Were you blind spotted by Mr. Mashaba? Yes or no?
No, to be a part of this operation.
Chair, I can't take it further than that. Thank you.
Warrant Officer Makhane,
Commissioners?
lastly from me. You, earlier in your testimony, you said that you informed your superior, your station commander.
That's correct.
That you are going on to this operation. What was the reason for that? Why did you find it necessary to inform your station commander?
Because when you, it's just for control purposes,
Yes.
so that it cannot later emerge that he doesn't know about your whereabouts.
Okay.
And it's always fair and safe to inform your superior unless you've got some ulterior motives.
Okay. Do you know, or did you come to know that Chief Mashaba did not inform his superior about this operation?
Unfortunately, Commissioner, I wouldn't be in a better position to say he informed his supervisor, but fair enough.
Yes.
For me, I did the right thing.
Okay, yes. His supervisor, Dumisani Pompi, filed a statement at the time and said that, and I'll just pick extra parts of it that make the point. He says, Chief Mashaba, in all his work engagements, he keeps communicating with me as his supervisor with regards to his duties, right? That's the one thing he says. And then he says that morning he called Mashaba for a meeting and Mashaba said he's busy. And then at about 11:26, he heard from Deputy Director that Chief Mashaba has been arrested by the Hawks. He had that. And then he then told me, and then he called him, and then he told me he could not tell me that they had an undercover operation of drugs. This is Mashaba now. He finds him on the phone. After now he's arrested, that the operation was successful, but they just having a misunderstanding with other members of crime intelligence The indication from him was that they are fine and they will handle the situation. This is Mashaba to his
commander.
superior. And then this is what the superior says in the statement. For me, this denoted that the responsible person for SAPS that approved this operation will discuss the misunderstanding with the general from intelligence. This was a reference to General Khan, a telephone call from General Khan. So the person responsible for the operation would have been you, according to his superior. There has to be a SAPS person responsible for the operation. But you've told us that, in fact, Mashaba was responsible. And then lastly, this is what the part where his boss says, I can confirm that I did not place Mashaba, he calls him Acting Deputy Provincial Inspector Mashaba, on duty of the activity he was performing at the time of his arrest, and he did not even inform me about it. So that's what his superior says. So Mashaba went and did his own thing without his boss knowing. And you have said, you have explained why you would inform your superior.
I
Right?
did that.
And quite notably for me, you say unless you would keep it, and you would inform unless there was an ulterior motive for not telling your
That's
superior.
correct, Commissioner.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to point to you. But then I want to put certain facts that have come out of the evidence or indicators that I want you to understand why there is concern about your role in this and the kind of conclusions that I shared with you earlier to say it looks like you were part of a scheme to intercept these drugs. One, and I list them, just try and remember them, but it all comes from the evidence, okay? And one is you are an office-bound person by your job. On that day, and your commander says that, and you, on that day, you left the office to be involved with a drug bust because Mashaba, who's not your friend, he's not someone you work with every day and do operations with, calls you out of the blue and says, come and help me. So we've established that you leave your desk job to go and assist him in a drug bust where you have absolutely no experience. You don't know the protocols that apply. You've never done a drug bust, but you go and assist and join him when you have no relevant experience. That's one. Two, from the evidence, you did not call any relevant role players to come to the scene. You did not call LCRC. You did not call SANEP. You didn't call dog unit. The one person you called who said, I'm unavailable, you didn't say, put me through to somebody else or to your commander or something. You let it be Maja. I think that was Maja. When Maja says, I'm unavailable, who is dog unit, that was the end of it. You never called dog unit. You didn't try to call the forensic lab. You didn't call Vispol. You didn't call Boysons. You didn't call anyone that's relevant. You went to an operation with you didn't call LCRC. You went to an operation with someone who's come to you with information to say, SAPS, here's information, and you go there. That's two. Three, you let Mashaba run this operation on your own evidence. You told us that he was in charge from the get-go. He was in charge of this, in spite of a national instruction that says you are the first responder, which you accept, and therefore you should take responsibility for that operation. You allow yourself to be run by a traffic officer on a scene where the national instruction says you must take responsibility. Having done that, you completely participate in contamination of the exhibits and the scene. You do that. We've established it's because you don't know anything about the protocols and procedures, but you undermine completely any chance of a successful investigation where these things come from, who touched them, because of you touch them and you get other people to touch them. So I think that's 4 for me, 5. We now have these WhatsApp messages where now we know someone was interested in the interception. You say you know nothing about it, but we know that's in the mix, right? Now we know that it was in the mix. Someone was exchanging WhatsApp messages about the very drugs that you are part of, the operation of which you are part of and are supposed to be in charge, but you are not in charge. Mashaba did not inform his superior, and you say, if you don't inform your superior, and I accept that. If you don't inform your superior, there must be an ulterior motive why you do so. And then lastly, in my list, there is the issue, the concerning issue of, well, one, you have someone who's supposed to be an informer being inexplicably part of your operation. Even if you say he just sat there and watched, inexplicably, you've got someone who's watching, seeing, going with you to track where the drugs are going. He's going with you from Yellow Jersey to Scania. If you had left that place, Scania, before Boysons arrived, he would have been going with you. So you've got someone whose presence is not satisfactorily explained. And you, first responder, are allowing all of this. He sees what's happening. But here's another worrying issue that Commissioner Kumalo has raised with you. This person has money, has a stash of money in their car. This unexplained person, in fact, this person whose presence is unexplained, supposed to be an informer, but his presence is uninformed. He's found to have a lot of money on him. That doesn't look good on these facts when you look at all of these facts. And what I want to put to you on all of those facts is that I hope you do understand how that reasonably creates a basis for suspicion about your own involvement in this. At best, you may have been innocent and been used by Mr. Mashaba. You came in innocently thinking you are here to assist someone who wants assistance. But the full set of facts here shows that this operation was not a legitimate police operation. And the suspicion that these drugs were not intended, at least not all of them, but according to the WhatsApp messages, all of them, in fact, are supposed to be delivered elsewhere other than police station, does not look good on you. It makes you appear to have been knowingly a part of this illicit operation, that you were brought in just to create the cover of SAPS, because that's what you did. Knowingly or unknowingly, you created cover for Mashaba that when you went to Yellow Jersey, you were able to say, I'm SAPS, here's my card. You did that. You got to Scania, you said, here, I'm SAPS. When other police officers arrived, you said, here, I'm SAPS. So you provided cover to someone who, in fact, this was his consignment. It wasn't yours. He got the information. It wasn't your consignment. You didn't find it. So I hope you understand how it looks and how it creates suspicion about your own involvement and your own knowledge of what in fact was happening in this scene or was supposed to happen. You understand what I'm putting to you? And you can comment if you want to.
Commissioners, with all fairness, I won't dispute your remark. In all honesty, I still maintain my innocence. I don't know how best can I explain this. That maybe I was just in a firing line, but that is all I can say.
Thank you, Warrant Officer Mahane.
Thank you,
Can
Commissioners.
I just say one thing and then clarify? It's a remarkable coincidence that the one police officer they called had a bakkie which was large enough to fit all these bags and they could sit comfortably in that bag. It's a worrying coincidence. But my question is really clarification more than anything else. Did I understand you correctly in the morning that you had just finished your shift? You were in a night shift and you had just finished when you were called?
No,
Or
no,
was
no,
it
no.
the case that you were not on duty at all on the day?
No, I was on duty.
You were on
A-
duty
Actually, I reported early as a duty officer.
at 6 o'clock?
I visited the station
Yes,
as a duty officer.
yes.
Coincidentally, while I was busy with my visit,
Yes.
is when I received this call.
All right. So you were on duty that day?
I was officially on duty.
All right. That's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. No further questions.
Thank you very much, Warrant Officer. You're excused. Let's adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.